So I'm glad you made it back for the third instalment. This could quite very easily be called "No one said this was going to be easy." Now, when you take something that isn't meant to fit in a hole and try and make it fit in that hole, you're inevitably going to come up against issues. And we are pretty much ready to make the new safety device disappear inside this cavity that we've got here. But we have got a few little sticking points that we really do need to resolve, and we're in danger of getting seriously behind now. Just a bit of a recap. Everything here is done. It's all good to go. We've got the fuel line sorted. We've got working fuel pump, fuel loop, everything. Sweet. We've got shifter cables. That's out of an Abarth, a 2018 Abarth. Should be fine. I've got to figure out something with the lock mechanism on the reverse, but I'm not worrying about that yet. That's for Ron. We should be able to sort the aircon out. The piping seems to fit and work. We'll see when we get a bit closer to actually, you know. So what's actually stopping us offering this up and putting it in? Well, hang on, I'll show you now. Let me just concentrate. One Bravo 150 TJet engine wiring loom. Expertly labelled and repaired and tidied up and everything else by myself. So I did this a little while ago. However, I bolted all this to the engine and fitted this all up to the engine the other night, and something hit me, and that is on the Bravo, the ECU is fitted somewhere around there, the back of it. So this cable here has only got to come off the back of the engine and go that far. Now, compare that to the Abarth loom. The Abarth loom, which in all intents and purposes is the same apart from that plug and is quite a bit, and there's the difference. So there to the back of the engine is 400mm. That's 26 feet for you Americans. The Abarth loom, more like 650, 700mm. It's a hell of a lot longer. Now, what that means in terms of the car is the Abarth ECU should be mounted here, which is where a lot of people have done this conversion, and there are 4 or 5 of them at least running in the UK at the moment. They've placed the ECUs there. Now, there have been several ways of mitigating all of this. The first way is to turn the ECU around, which isn't a bad idea. There is a slight issue with me doing that, but that's something up because it will have a clearance issue this way, bonnet and wiring, etc. But it's something we've got to, you know, consider. The second way is to extend this out. Now, again, that's been done quite successfully, I believe. However, it does introduce another failure point. And by another failure point, I mean 44 failure points, because that is quite literally how many wires you've got to go through in there to make that bad boy work. The other thing that people have done, or is to mount it somewhere around there. Now, that's where I'm leading at the moment. The only thing is it does require a bit of fabrication, because we have got to, now where's that ECU? We've got to make that there. We do this. That's not too clever, is it? It'll work, but that's where I'm leaning for this. Now, making this, fit this, excuse me, making this fit this is a phone call I've got to make, which I'll do in a bit. But let's just, well, I think that we're going to end up roughly by here. I have to make up some sort of heat shield for that as well. Interesting. What does everyone else think? Good question. I'd say stick it in the comments, although I've got no idea how many people are watching this, so... That worked? I suppose it has. I'd be lying if I thought it was good, though. Oh, it's in there. It's in there. Right, let's try it with this one. And I'm thinking, yeah, we're all right with that. Because I've used a Sharpie, all this is really accurate. Of course, you do realise what this means now, don't you? I have fabricated brackets. I can hear Nick turning. He's on his way. As I might have mentioned, we're trying to put something in there. It isn't really meant to be in there. Now, I've got no reference point to mount anything up here, and I've got no, and you can see the differences and the things that we've had to do. And now, I had some scrap alley, and I've managed to make some relatively, and I haven't finished them yet, but I've managed to make some relatively decent brackets that I can still alter, and that'll fit. Look at that, that's lovely. But what I've got to do is these have got to move slightly, because I've just fitted it up with the airbox, where I think I know where the airbox is going to go, and it fits in quite tight around there. So, and that's going to be, because I'm also going to put a heat shield over here. I'm hoping it'll fit. So that's going to hopefully come over there. But that's going to, and these are going to be, oh, I don't know whether these, I'll cut these down or not a bit. This could actually come in a bit as well. So I'm confident that that's far enough off there. I'm confident these, I can grind these down a bit. I can take a couple of mil out of these standoffs here, move that in, and it's got to come down a bit. I think once we've done that, I think we're going to be pucker. It does take a little bit of time, this whole fabrication game. I'm not the best at it either, but we're going to get this done, because I am conscious that we are really running out of time. Now, I'll get you in on what's going on in detail in a second, but the overall situation is that we're now in a position to start bolting stuff back up. I was originally going to start with the engine and see how that hung and one thing or another. I've had a think, and I've decided the best thing to do now is going to be the subframe and a few of the suspension components, because you can get into those without the engine there, and I think that that's a bit better. I think I've got the position of the ECU right. We'll have to fight. The problem is like, because the engine, but worst thing happens is I've got to make some new brackets. So we can offer all this up. We can start getting stuff put back together. The aim for this session is subframe. I don't know whether I'm going to do the struts yet. I might do, because they're there. And get everything lined up, get the arms back in, steering rack back in, and get it in a position so I can then bolt that loom back on that engine, and get that offered up as well. So, but we're up against it now. We need to put some hours in. So let's have a crack. Okay. So we've got a few things to do to this prior. I'm not going to offer the arms. I am going to put the steering rack on it. I am not offering the arms up because there's a bit of weight involved in this. And my arms don't work anymore, so... So you can see why on the 500. Thought I cleaned this. You can see why on the 500 this is considered to be more difficult to look in the Panda. Oh god, there we go. I don't think the bumper gets in the way. The other one flew in. This is obviously going to... It's going to be one of those days when nothing works properly. Okay. I should clip. Why don't you... what's going on yet? Oh. Right. Okay, I might need to sort that out. Right. Okay. Ow. Oh, I'll be fine. Stick another glove on. So, it turns out that loom tape has more than one use. Oh, I don't need to bend it anyway. So, I've discovered we've got a bit of a problem with the starter motor. That's cracked on there. It must have been damaged at some point, which is a bit of a shame. I'm hoping that the Panda starter motor is the same one. I cross-referenced the part numbers, but it's got to come off anyway because one way or the other, it's no good. So we'll get this one off here, get this, and it's good that we've got, because I remember rightly, I had to replace the Panda's start motor, so that start motor's been on there like a year. So in answer to the question, are the Panda and the Abarth starter motors the same? Fitment wise, I'd say yes. I'm interested as to understand why this one's a bit longer, but so turns out that these are interchangeable, which is just as well, really. That's a nice flywheel, isn't it? Ah. No way. That's not different. No way. Well, shit. Oh, that is a major kick in the cock. Boy, have we had fun and games. Wouldn't fit. Which was a surprise to me, because I was under the impression that it would. We had a few problems with the engine mounts and the matching up of therefore and one thing or another. I'll get you in on it in a second. I had to call the parts fairies again, throw some more money at them, and they've managed to deliver this. Hopefully we've now got the right parts, because the Panda mounts were to swap the Panda mounts over to that engine. It would have taken, I would have had to have replaced the covers and the further bits and pieces, and it wasn't clear that they would fit. All I know is that you couldn't use one or the other, you had to have both. The problem being there is everyone else has fitted Abarth mounts to this Euro 6, and they are different, which surprised me, because when I did Luigi, the mounts were the same as the Pandas, which is why I didn't worry about it. I thought they were all interchangeable. Turns out they weren't. So if you're doing this, you need to bear in mind, either you swap completely over to Panda mounts, which includes all the casings, timing belt and all that, or you swap over to the Abarth mounts, which again, and it came with a mount, but it was shot. So I decided to do the best thing, call the parts first. We've got to check a few things, because the gearbox, I got both of them, because I'm done messing around with this now. So we're going to knock the mounts on this, get it all fitted up, get it offered up, and we're going to get this engine in this car tonight. Let's have a crack. So we got a box of pain here. Let's, because I left this in a state of confusion. So this being the mount that was fitted to the engine, did not interface correctly with the Panda mount that was on there. The mount that came with it is shot. There were subtle differences, and I can show you with some photos as to what the difference in these mounts is. Now, all of that aside, it turns out, and I checked what the crack was with it. I checked that we were doing, because I didn't know if there was a certain way of doing things, or a certain way of, you know, the geometry looks the same, the position looks the same. So let's just go with the Abarth mounts, which is kind of what we're gonna, you know, do here now. He says, as he fails miserably to, I don't like putting big bolts back in and everything. Right, okay, here we go. So that's what we've decided to do, is that the gearbox mount is fine, should be good either way, whereas the other one, see, that one there, it's actually wider. Try that, will make a difference? Nah, will it hell? Well, that's got a bolt as opposed to that having a stud. Right, okay.
Look into your eyes, see all my mistakes, and then I see there's nothing left worth fighting for, so I turn the other way, and then I see that I was happier and happier and happier that way. As I fall away to find a brighter day, so keep away from me right now. As I turn and shout, I'm holding my hands out, so keep away from me right now. Turn to face you now, turn to face you then. All the while I see you're only living for yourself. Maybe you'll wake up, maybe you'll stay blind, living in your little world where only you exist. And as I fall away to find a brighter day, so keep away from me right now. As I turn and shout, I'm holding my hands out, so keep away from me right now. As I fall away to find a brighter day, so keep away from me right now. As I turn and shout, I'm holding my hands out, so keep away from me right now. As I fall away to find a brighter day.
Right, we're in. Like sin. Not the cakewalk I was expecting, but I'm beginning to get that. I might have to make some new brackets because, as you can see, we've yeah, this is going to have to come off, and I can make this shrink in a bit. I can't change, that's right there on the pipe actually. On the pipe, well, we can kind of move the pipe a bit because we put the pipe there, but yeah, this is going to have to move a little bit more. I can see why people don't put them there. I didn't think this stuck out as much as it did, but the good news is that after all that, the bit that we tried to get over, i.e. this, is working fine. Oh my god, that's tight. Oh, that is... In fact, that might be too tight. Right, that's on there. Yeah, we've got to... That's right on that plug. So it's got to go over, and it's... Yeah, we've got to move this over and back a bit. But that's not the end of the world, because this is exactly what this is all supposed to be about. So we've got a bit of an interesting one here, because I can't make this. I've got to come up with a complete, so different hose. What's the word I'm looking for? I got to come up with a completely different hose solution for the servo, and I got to be careful what hose I use for that. So the bottom line is I've modified this quite a bit to try and get it to fit, and it just is not going to fit there. The cover, I thought the problem was going to be with the cover, and it's not. And it will just about go there, but that is a concern, because I don't know what to do about that yet, because like I said, you've got to be careful. This I'm not so worried about, because it's neither here nor there, to be honest with you. It's just PCVOs. That can fit in there, and it can stand off against, so it doesn't catch. It does catch that clip typically, but we can move the clips. We can move all clips. So yeah, it does get, but I've got to put it at an angle to get it, and we've got to come up with a solution there. Now, the other thing that I've just figured out is that actually, do you know what? It will, after all of this, and now we've got this in and we can see where everything's going to go, it will, there's nothing stopping it going in there, around about, you go down there, because that is proper. So if we were to put this in there, we can drop that as low as those two there, so we can actually get that roughly there. Yeah, that's okay. Which means that we can put the this particular one can be tucked up, and it can come up through there, or it can come up through here now. Is now I know that right, it's there. Wait. Oh, that's it's tight, but it will. I can. You just get this out here, so. Right, I can get. If I can pull that up through there. As long as we're not. Oh no! Oh, there's no more giving it. Let's have a look. Yeah, what we got? What we got on? That one there. And everything else is. Oh, that's tight. Oh, that's tight. Okay. So this little one took me to school yesterday. In that I know where we've got a lambda sensor that should be post. Okay, that one will go down there somewhere. Pre is about by there. Yeah, we've got to get this. Do you like that? That goes on there like this. This is a used 200 sal Sport Cat, which is I was lucky to get hold of, to be honest with you, but it's here and we have it. Anyway, so yeah, this took me. Let me just put this somewhere. Yeah, this took me to school a bit, because whilst we were trying to find out what wires, where they, I realised that this had nowhere to go, and this is TC Bypass SV, which when I did it, I just wanted to get a label on it, but it's turbocharger bypass solenoid valve. You do a search on what that actually is. You keep getting pictures of this little thing, yeah. Now this seems slightly better days. Is your actuator valve thing? I can't remember exactly what, but that, yeah, that's not, is it? It's just not the right. We're not in the right place. That's actually got a cable that comes. I think that's controlled from the body side of things, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So I was a little bit worried about this particular potential issue that we had. So I kind of panicked is the wrong word, but I had quite a few crosswords with myself over the fact that I must have got something wrong. Something must be, you know, why is that there when it should be potentially somewhere else? Or again, when this loom being from the Bravo, there is something on the Bravo that sits there, behind there, which doesn't do here. So I thought, so where is it on the Abarth? Piece missing, wasn't there? So, alright. And there's the map sensor. I knew the map sensor was there. But of course, this is your diverter valve, your turbocharger bypass solenoid valve. So the problem isn't a massive one in the sense that normally, or this normally, lives up there. Unfortunately, because I believe that this bypass thing hose which comes down there on the TJet and the Bravo, or the Bravo TJet, goes over the back. It doesn't here, it goes on the front. So the worst thing that can happen, has got to happen now, is that this cable has to match up with this here. There's a couple of ways of doing it. We could extend the cable. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make an extension lead. So I'm going to make a plug lead that fits into there and just allows me to plug this in standard where it should be. And that's it. That's the only thing. And I don't have to do it now, which is just as well because I don't have any connectors. But that is what we've got. And that just fits. And that's obviously intercooler, which is another bag of cats that we've got to deal with. But the main thing now, that's, you know, and I've got I didn't have the bolt for the dog bone on the back of the gearbox and the subframe. That's been ordered, which I've had to go back to Fiat for it, because with those bolts, things like subframe bolts and structural bolts and things like that, don't try and go to B&Q and stick a bolt in it from B&Q. Go and get the proper bolts. They might cost more, but they cost more for a reason. They are tested, they are high tensile, they are all just get the proper bolts. They're not actually that expensive. So we've got a lot of them, and there's a clip missing there of all things. I have no idea what's happened to that clip, which is, I don't even know if I ever had it, but that's got to go into there and on there, and that's got to be sorted out and clipped onto there, and I don't know whether is that the proper clip for it? It might actually be. Good lord. Oh my god, it is. Look at that. And that's proper Abarth. That's the pipe off an Abarth. It took bloody ages to get that. And that's got to be tidied up around the back there. There's a hose. You can see that we've got this to go on there as well, which is the, I can't remember whether it's the inlet or the outlet, the matrix. It's one of the two. But we got to get a clip on that and sort that out as well. But anyway, we're in a good place. It's you know, it's not I don't know, that's in the right place as well. But anyway, I think what we need to do is crack on with that and get bits done. So let's have a crack. So that's extended that piece out there, and you know, did a few bits here. I think that is, that goes on there like that. So we've got everything a bit tidier now. I've still got to sort a few hoses out, and yeah, not displeased with it. So we've got everything a bit tidier now, and as I've mentioned, we've got a sort of different hose that fits a lot better onto the servo. But I want to turn my attention now to this, a different aspect of it anyway, because as you can see, we've got our engine loom all plugged in nicely there now, and I'm reasonably happy with how it's routed. I've got to just check everything and tighten it, you know, and get that extension in for that solenoid. But other than that, we're looking not too bad. So what I'm going to try and do is you know, we've got this connected up, but we do have this is engine side loom, body side. So that side does all the engine stuff, this side does all the body stuff, and you know. Now the body side, on the Panda is this, and this little thing has seen better days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... well, that's a problem, isn't it? Now, what quite a few people do is they get the plug off this. They get the wiring diagram, and they get the wiring diagram for this, and they repin the plug to fit that, which is one way of doing things. It's also extremely complicated. I'm not brilliant at wiring, and what I need is a solution that allows me to plug this into there. Maybe an adapter of some kind. Only there was a solution to that. I think I need to make a phone call. Fantastic. Right, hang on. I'll assume the position. Brilliant. Awesome. Right, I'll have a crack with this. Fantastic. Right, cheers, bud. Lovely guy. Right, I suppose we better have a look at this. Right, okay, so we have got a set of installation instructions centered around converting this ECU into this, and what we've effectively got is a adapter that has been lovingly crafted to make this happen. So you can see what's got to occur here. Okay, I'm just gonna as a thing, we're gonna have a look at this now, and that there you go. Right, so all of this aside, and this is clever stuff, this is, because this makes it, I don't like wiring. I can do it, but I would prefer not to. And what we've got here is something that should just pretty much plug and play. Now, obviously, we've got a little bit of fine tuning, and that probably can sit over to the side there. And we've got to sort out some power. That's positive and ground. And I think that this, and I mentioned earlier on that this little valvey thing here was controlled by that side of things. So we've got that goes, in theory, and that's got to be routed properly. So I'm assuming that, oh, look at that, fits like a glove. Right, so this, once this is all hooked up and everything else is sorted, should literally be plug and play. The ECU has been virginized. In other words, it's been factory reset. So in theory, what should happen when I stick the key in and switch it all on, it should go, oh, I'm new, and it should associate itself with the immobilizer and everything, and the clocks and the key. So that should be that, and it should have a base and TJet 120 map on it. Now obviously this isn't a 120, that's another thing that we'll get onto, but this here is very clever, and we can make sure that that's all, you know, and I have a feeling that this yeah, we can make that work. It's a bit better than it was up there, because we would have had a bit of a fouling thing there, and that, yeah, so even though we're gonna have to make sure that that's the, yeah, I think we can. Who asked you? So we got stuff sorted, and where we haven't got, and I've tightened up a few things, and you know, I'm going to start writing a snag list of things that just need to be done. Now, one of the most painful things I've been not been looking forward to it, is the exhaust that I know that I've got to put on this car, and partly because the lift isn't ideal for this particular task, but also it's it's just painful. Do you know what I mean? Getting it right, and you do have to get it right. And I'll tell you what I did is I bought an issue. A lot of people would say, "Oh, get a full regazing system, stainless system, custom system, etc." Well, that's great, and they might look great when you're fitting them in one thing or another. But I've got a regazing back box, which yes, it looks good and it sounds good. But here's the thing. See this here? This is a bog standard Abarth mild steel pipe. I think I paid about 70 quid for it. So the Panda system was restricted to a bit less than this. Anyway, this is a slightly more a freer flowing system, and it is an upgrade off the one that was fitted to the car, which is just as well because this engine's good for nearly twice the horsepower, because that's safe. But this is meant to fit an Abarth, and it should be the same. But unlike with wiring, I at least I have a fighting chance of fixing this because welding. Now the reason why I went with a really, I suppose, cheap and nasty option for this is quite simply because, like, a nice stainless, oh, it'd be fantastic, yeah, but it would have been 3 to 4 times the cost. And whilst that's fine and it looks good and all of these things, there is a real big downside with that, and that is this. You will end up in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, replacing this anyway, which means it's all got to come off, it's all got to be welded. As far as I'm concerned, this, on this system, is the life of the system. It doesn't have to be, you know, I think it's uneconomical to fit a full stainless. And don't get me wrong, the back box, though it badly needs cleaning, is a stainless system, and it's a nice bit of kit. But I think that this is more than adequate for what we've got, and it should be. No, I'm not going to say it. So yeah, this lift isn't ideal for this particular task that we got going on here now, and I haven't done one on you like this, so I don't know how this is going to work out. So I'm going to just try. That's it, now. So we don't have any other brackets. There's one. Bloody hell. I don't know why I'm worrying about this, because all that happens with it going back on the car, and nobody see. This is what cracks me up about stainless steel exhaust systems. You say, oh, I got a full stainless system, I bet that looks mint. No one can see it, it's under the car! What do you do? Every car meets you jack the car up and turn it over, do you? I suppose if it helps you sleep at night, you know. Well done. And now I'm wondering why I'm doing this. I'm not a fan of doing exhausts. I never have been. This one, originally fitted, took me a lot of time and effort to get it right. And see what I mean? If I recall correctly, it was just a pain in the ass. Because even though this now will be, because you've got to stop it in this bit, you've got to stop it in that bit, you've got to stop it in this bit, and you're going to do that when it's at one position, or in when it's loaded and when it isn't loaded, and so that's fine. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to smear some I've got a preferred exhaust piece that I always use. It's excellent stuff. Not with the stuff. This is EAP5 from Heilemer. I tend to find it is far more flexible, workable, and just better than nearly everything I've ever used. It's just better. And I am being that tight. I am getting I'm getting my money's worth out of this tube, trust me. Okay. I'm actually completely blown away by the fact that this is in it. There we go. Oh, missed. Useless.
It's alright, that.